splintered the truth movement a little bit further. So, a lot of those things are intentional. But, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I heard you on Nonconformity Live a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the points, you got into an argument with one of the callers where he was citing these sources, and you brought up a great point, which is right along the lines of where my show is. It's that you're like, okay, these books have been written on this subject. And you brought up a point that I hadn't brought up before, which was, I've said, you don't know, what I've said is that you don't know if these books are true or not. What you brought up was that the books, especially like all these, there's a conspiracy 101 set of information about the Knights Templars and the Freemasons, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yes. Yep. And
what you brought up is, look, back in those days before, most of us were around, it cost a lot of money to print a book.
Yes.
Okay, nobody could just say, "I'm going to write a book exposing exposing the powers that be," and they're like, "Well, and who's going to fund you?"
Yeah, exactly. Who's running the printing press? We do. Yeah,
which is a great point.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that people don't realize, and I say this, and I don't mean that to belittle anybody that's in the religion and all that, but when you look at books that are rewritten and they're written from different languages and translated over, and then you have social just the psychology of people at the time and their social level and what they're involved in, and then the king is the one that endorses this transcript. I mean, you have all these corruptible things that are put into place that for me to look at and take it seriously, I have a hard time with that. So just with what you're saying on the Knights Templar and all the other, secret societies, if the Rockefeller or if the Rothschilds are so rich, why would they let somebody print these books? Why would they just buy up all the books or be done with it, or pay these people off not to do it?
Or have them assassinated, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my point is, if they are who they say they are, it's really funny that they're letting you write these books about it. So I think that they're actually plants. They're actually made up just to distract people and get people to look at what's going on. And these events, they mimic the scripture, predictions, the numerology and things like that. They do that on purpose. So it's like just basically traps these people into, this is the Luciferians, or this is that, and they're just sitting back just laughing at people going, these guys are idiots. They're just dumb.
I get so fed up with that, the old anti-Luciferian thing. I mean, look, my receptionist is hot. She's red-haired. She's not evil, okay? Although I'm pissed off at her. I'm not pissed off at her because she's evil. Okay?
Yeah. But it's like, they do these things on purpose. They know how they throw gambits out there for us, and we fall for them. Yeah. So I basically break it down to there's evil people and there's good people, and everybody's all in between, whatever that scale is. So these people are just evil. I don't care what association, what group, or whatever. They're just evil people.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of this, they've got us chasing shadows. Like, good luck, okay, you're going to go, kill Lucifer or whatever, whoever they told you, or the Freemasons or whatever, nonsense, the latest conspiracy du jour, bad guy. And they're all shadows. And at least I like your work because you're saying, here is this person. Okay?
Yeah.
There he is. And, there's people going to argue with you. They're going to say, well, he's not at the top of the pyramid. Why does it matter if he's involved in criminal wrongdoing? Why does it matter if he's at the top of the pyramid or the bottom of it?
Yeah. Why are the individuals that are involved in the Gabrielle Giffords event and involved in the Quartzsite Jennifer Jones event together on a beach at David Rockefeller Jr.'s house a year before those events took place? And then you see other people that are there that are playing events that are with the Occupy movement at David Rockefeller's house. And you see David Rockefeller there on the beach with no shirt on, which is not a pretty sight. And, you see him with all his grandchildren sitting there, and he's hugging and kissing on them. And these are family photographs. This is David Rockefeller Jr. with his sisters right alongside of him. So when you see that, and then you see the individuals that are involved in all these events, you go, well, I mean, that's a conspiracy. Why are these people together? That's something wrong. One is Jared Loeffner's teacher is married to Ponce, the officer Ponce from Quartzsite. So, I mean, you look at this and go, wait a second, that can't be. Well, it is, because here's the photo, so now that's criminal activity. And that's where we really can hold them to it, because they have to explain this.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like me just saying, oh, yeah, it's the Rockefellers or they're behind us. We have physical evidence, photographs of these people together before the events happened. I mean, that's solid.
See, but I guess it's not in vogue. I mean, one of the things that, I do on my show is I reveal, like, through the use of codes and symbols, how, a lot of the times when we're watching movies, the people behind the movies are obviously people that like to molest children. And they're just blatant points about child molestation that they make. And, but it's not in vogue to, you got to worship Hollywood, right? You got to worship them. So if these guys can get away with whatever they want, whether they just pretty much come out on this, if they could come out in a movie and say, I like to have sex with little boys, and nobody would care because, what is the conspiracy movement? They're refocusing there saying, no. There's a satanic pedophile cult of evil Freemasons that is running. Oh, who are they?
Yeah, and how did you get the information? Where did you get it from?
No, it's not Steven Spielberg. It's somebody else.
Yeah,
somebody who doesn't exist.
Yeah, I can't tell you who my connections are, but they gave me the information. Well, but that's what makes mine different. And I don't, like I said, my whole main goal of this is to actually get the information, enough of it together where I could present it to, say, a federal judge or somebody, and actually hold some people accountable for what they're doing. And I think that's the main objective. And, it's basically now been sort of a little bit sidetracked with the fact that I see what they're doing with the Occupy movement, and I see where they're going, and I have made a prediction about that. And, it's coming true. But, and I don't like to make predictions, but that's when I do. Yeah. And I think it's important that people realize that where they're headed with this and what they're going to try to do. And that's why I'm really pushing this whole thing, because it's the family members that are behind this.
I definitely see this event. I've done a show on it where we talked about this. And I know you, the Nonconformity Live, Mike from there, I had him on, we talked about that. Yeah, there's nothing good's going to come out of that.
No, yeah. No, we have definite proof that the people that are involved in it were part of Move On, and Move On, of course, is Soros funded. Well, then we see other people that are involved in it that are with other organizations that are Soros based. So we know that there's money being funneled in there, and then we can look at, of course, the Greenberg family and Tony and all the other people, and Arden Vole. She's one of the family members, is down there filming. So we see the same faces, the same family, and then you have to wonder, why are they doing this, and what's the outcome going to be? So, it's not good. It's not what they say they're there to do. It's not about the Federal Reserve.
I've had a few people in the chat room keep asking about the name Scott Olson keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite. Is that the guy that got shot at the Oakland thing?
Yeah, with the tear gas canister.
Okay, yeah. They were asking what the deal with that is. So.
Yeah, when I looked at those images, I did a little video about that. The second set of the second set of video that came out of that situation was a different angle than the first one they released. The first one they released, you sort of can see more, but the second one is from a different angle, and he doesn't get hit by anything. And it looks like he's not even really there, because when this body or this whatever this looks like falls, there's a few frames where it blurs, and it's sort of just a blur on the ground where it looks like it was digitally put in there. And then, of course, as somebody passes in front of the image, and then you can see the image again, the body's moved about 5 feet up. So it's like they made a mistake.
Their continuity guy was.
And they hate me for that. Yeah, they hate me for continuity stuff, because that's one thing I pick out. I always look in the backgrounds, and I'm always looking at things like that. And yeah, there's people smiling, and they're supposed to be getting tear gassed, and they're smiling and laughing, and it's just it's a fake. So they're using this as a way to try to instigate and to irrigate people, just to get them to get just totally act out in violence. And that's one thing that they're going to try to do, and they're going to show us that they're doing. Even if we don't believe it, they're going to show it that it's happening.
Yeah, I think they definitely want a violent resolution to this in order to bring about whatever's next. And, I think they're egging on policemen, with now they got releases like people taking on, spitting on policemen, kicking policemen, whatever. They're releasing stories about that. And they're also saying, now police brutality for the other side. They're trying to work up both sides because they want some kind of result out of this. And whatever it is, I've talked, we've covered this at length before in the show. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be in anyone's benefit.
Yeah, I'll make the prediction now. It's about, right now, what they're going to try to do is they're trying to curb any future protests for anything by saying that, you're not going to be able to do it during certain times, because they've already tried to do this with the drumming down there. These people have been such an annoyance that they've gone to the city councils and they've tried to make them have certain times that they can do their drumming and times they can do protesting. So you see how they work it right there. They slowly work away at the foundation of the civil liberties, where they say, okay, well, you can't protest, you can't beat those drums between, this hour and that hour. Well, okay, then it's going to be, you can't do it during the week when people are working because you're annoying them. And they slowly progress it till they say, you can only protest in that area. Like they had the free speech zones.
Yeah.
I mean, Come on. So yeah.
Why are those guys even drumming anyway?
Yeah, they're drumming. They're drumming because they're trying to be annoying. They're trying to do this.
Why drummers like always seem to show up? You know?
Yeah.
Like, who are these guys? Why are you drumming? You know, it's like I remember that scene from Lord of the Rings. The drums, they're coming.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's funny, but yeah, they're doing that on purpose. You know, they've been told to be annoying and make these people annoyed.
Yeah, they're accomplishing that.
Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, I hope people wake up. And I've been trying to use that tear gas situation as a way to at least wake military people up that have experienced the tear gas training. So they immediately look at it, and once I point that out, they go, "Oh, well, yeah, these people with handkerchiefs on. There's no way this is tear gas. This is fake." So,
you know, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
One of the things we were talking about earlier is, you know, the names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how, again, and I think this is where my work comes in. You know, like had I not got into this area, I wouldn't see these symbols and et cetera. You know, one of the things that I've talked about is, you know, they seem to be obsessed with the destruction of a human, and you know, you do that by attacking its exit port, as we learned with the Star Wars, right? Your most vulnerable spot is your one tiny little exhaust port. And if you know these people and what they're so fascinated by, and again, they like to just let each other know, I believe. Again, this is a theory about whether they're doing it to inform each other or just make fun of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talked about the WikiLeaks truck showing up at these Occupy Wall Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at their symbols that they're using. What do you have? You have a fist being inserted into a circle. All right, well, that's the destruction of the exhaust port. By sticking a fist in it, you pretty much destroy it, okay?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, even when WikiLeaks came out, and I'm like, all right, you know what? Look at these guys, all right? You know, why is this called WikiLeaks, right? And I wouldn't have thought this necessarily, because, you know, not everything has to do with where one of my areas of research has gone into, but sometimes when you look at these people, it does. Because who was the guy that was associated with WikiLeaks at first? A guy named Ass Angel?
Yes. Yeah, you know, I give him for the creativity. I got to give it up to him, you know, because somebody's pretty creative on that end that's doing this. But you know, it's just I don't know why.
You pointed out one of the characters associated with, and you know, I'm not sure. Again, I don't necessarily see the face connection, but I do see, you know, some other similarities. The guy with the tattoo, the soldier that again got circulated all throughout the Truth Movement, right? People are like, look at this brave soldier, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're pointing out that he let's just say may also be playing this character called Iabo Ibo Mandingo.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make that up.
Yeah,
you know?
Really, Mandingo?
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. It's hilarious, but they do it, and then people buy it. Because I've had people contact me now saying, "Hey, that's my cousin. I know he's real." And I'm like, "Yeah, come on,
what,
please."
Iabo Ibo Mandingo is your cousin,
and you're admitting it.
So is your last name also Mandingo? Let me see. Are you black and have an 18-inch penis?
I mean, it's so funny, and you know, that's Pima County again, where that was shot.
Oh.
And he also is a Pima County sheriff's deputy, or actually he's a corrections officer for Pima County, and he's in the books. So again, we had the connection between those actors and the same ones all being in Sheriff Dupnick's annual awards booklets.
So is Pima County just rife with crime? Is that why they have so many deputies out there?
You know, and that was one of the things that I was looking at. Check this one out. As I'm looking at the graduating classes of the corrections officers, which they publish in their monthly books, I noticed that at least 4 to 6 people in those group photographs are photoshopped in. And it's obvious because the shadows are wrong and they're just totally photoshopped in. And I'm seeing this constantly in all the group photographs of the graduating classes. So I begin to think about it, and you know, what if they're just trying to inflate their, you know, basically their employee, their numbers, so they can get more money for basically their objectives. And you know, it sort of plays into it, because then you hear Quartzsite, and that's, of course, another Pima County people being involved in that. They were complaining because the sheriff was paying invisible people, made-up people, and they wanted to audit the role. And I started thinking, well, why don't they do that in Pima? Because there's something definitely going on there. And, you know, that's just one of the theories, but we can see it in his annual awards book with the CGI people. So I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know if those books, which they're on their website, Pima County Sheriff's website, you can download them from them. So I don't know. I know there's obviously got to be sheriffs out there. So why aren't the real sheriffs at least calling me up